Hey everyone. I'm trying to squeeze in some videos this week because I have some time. So today I wanted to talk about instructions and directions with my items on my site. So there's a ton of information on my site. When you go to the listings, there's a search box there. You can search for anything that you want to. There's usually at least 2 or 3 paragraphs on the history and the uses, and then some tips on the uses for the item. So it'll give you maybe color correspondences or day correspondences, things like that. So oftentimes when people receive their items, they will then send me an email and they'll say, well, how do I use this? Say that they bought a candle. And for me, it's pretty self-explanatory. You light a candle. I don't give people spells because I don't use spells. I don't use written spells out of books. That's just not something that I use. I have developed my own practice and I incorporate ingredients and formulas and offerings into my practice depending on what I'm working on. So it's the same set of directions that I'm going to follow no matter what type of work I'm doing, whether it's love or money or, whatever. The ingredients, of course, are going to change, and the formulas are going to change, and the day that I do it on, it's going to change, and the colors that I'm using are going to change. But I don't have a book that I open up and read words out of. I don't have a spell book. I'm not going to provide you with spells. Because for me, all you're doing is just sort of regurgitating the words of somebody else. So somebody else wrote that spell, and I don't know who it was, and I don't know if they even knew what they were doing. I don't know if they were any good at what they were doing. I have no idea. So I'm not going to direct you to a spell, nor am I going to write one for you, because that's just not a service that I provide. Spell work and workings should be something that you develop a daily practice for. So during your practice of prayer and your offerings in the morning or at night, if you have something that you need to work on at that time, if it's getting a job or working on your relationship, then you would get out your tools that you would help you focus on that. So maybe you would get out red or pink candles if you're focusing on your relationship, and you would inscribe your names into the candles, and then you would dress it with an oil that you prefer that coincides with the type of work that you're doing. Then you would maybe dress it in a powder that coincides with the type of work you are doing, burn some incense that coincides with the type of work, set it on your altar, and then speak words from your heart. So, boom, there's your spell. So you don't need to read something out of a book. You don't need me to tell you how to burn a candle. You don't need me to tell you what to do with your oils. That's something you should be working into your daily offerings and prayers. It should be a very cohesive, fluid, seamless thing. Your offerings and your prayers shouldn't be separate from work that you're doing. That's how you begin the work, because that's what gives your work power. So it is, when I have somebody contact me, well, how do I use this soap? Well, take a bath. So you need to, while you're using it though, of course, obviously, we get our mind right. Because if your mind's not focused on your goal, none of this has any significance at all. A soap or an oil, they're not sentient. They don't have brains. They don't have minds. They cannot pick themselves up and go out and go talk to your boyfriend for you and say, hey, oh, well, she made a mistake and you guys got in an argument and she's sorry. They don't do anything on their own. You got to have your mind right, and you got to work it into your practice. And when you work it into your practice, you got to work it every day until you start seeing results, because there is no magic pill. There is no, drop 10 pounds in one day diet plan. That doesn't exist. And spiritual work is not any different. If you want to achieve a goal, it is daily work along with your offerings and prayers. Like I said, they should be a very fluid, seamless, organic thing that happens. So, get the soap and wash with it and put the oil on afterwards, and, light a candle of the right color. And while you're doing this, if the whole time you're thinking about something else, or you're thinking, if the soap and the candle and the oil that you're using is for a relationship, the whole time you're thinking, wow, I'm so mad at him, he did that, and he should be the one apologizing, not me. That's not, your mind is not right, your mind is wrong. Your mind is not where it's supposed to be. Your mind is not headed towards your goal. Your mind's not focused on your goal. Your mind is back in like junior high, and you're being immature, and that's not going to get you anywhere. So if you had an argument relationship, you gotta kind of put that aside, and if you want to work on the relationship, work on it. If it's not worth working on, then don't. Then work on a safe, happy, amicable separation working, and bring that into your life if it's not worth it. But so when people ask me for directions, I certainly don't mean to be rude. It's just that I can't give you directions for your life. I don't know what your practices are. I don't know what your beliefs are. I don't know what deities you work with. I don't know what items you like to use. There's a big difference between, what I do, and then somebody contacts me that maybe they consider themselves to be pagan or New Age or Wiccan, and they contact me, and I give them some directions, and I say, oh, well, you need to get a coyote bone or a chicken foot, and that's not something they work with. So I could do that 100 times. I could give them 100 different ways to do it, and there might be none of them that they're comfortable with, because that's my work. It's not theirs. So that's why I tell people I'm not going to give you instructions. You should typically have a good feeling, a good place you are in yourself where you know what your practices are. If you do tarot, then use one of my oils and rub your hands with it and pick a tarot card and see what it says about your situation. Or any other type of divination. Use one of the oils and then throw your bones or cast your shells, or however you do it. So that's not me giving you a spell. That's you working the oil into your own practices, into your own skills, into what you're good at, into what works for you. It's working it into how the divine speaks through you. So I can't, I can't speak for you, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I don't want to say, well, you have to say these words exactly like this, because that's what I do. That's not even what I do, because I don't have exact words that I say. I just roll with it. I let it, I let the divine come in me. I let them use my brain to make thoughts. I let them use my mouth to make words, and that's how I pray. I don't read a prayer. I don't read a prayer out of a book. I don't have anything written down. You have to believe that the divine is within you, and that is the best way for you to achieve your goals, is by letting it manifest itself naturally and in an organic way. So try to keep that in mind when you get a new item that you're going to work with, instead of running to the computer to Google a spell that maybe some 12-year-old wrote and put it online, because just because it's online doesn't mean that it's worth anything, and it doesn't mean that it's true. So you gotta do you. You need to develop your own practices and your own power and your own self-esteem in them, so that when you're speaking your prayers from your own heart, they are your words, and it's about your situation. It's not some words that some other person wrote that was really about their situation, that maybe it had to do with relationship work or love work, but their situation was about cheating and your situation is about fighting. Two totally different things. So you need to work on prayers and words and thoughts that express what you need from the universe and what you need to get from your practice, and giving honor to your spirits and your guides and your ancestors, and giving them respect for the aid that they're about to show you through these tools that you're working with. So I hope that helps you and gives you a little bit more self-empowerment into developing your own practices and finding things that work for you. I'm always happy to give correspondence suggestions. Like, somebody writes me and they say, oh, I got this soap, what do I do with it? And I'll say, well, I'm not going to tell you how to use a bar of soap, but I will tell you the best day to use it on. But all the other prayers and stuff, that's got to be all you. That's got to come from your heart and your mind, and from what the spirits and the divine send into you. So I hope that that maybe clears up a little bit about why I don't use spells and why I can't provide you with a spell when you contact me. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that I don't use them because I'm trying to be organic and just really get in touch with the divine that flows through me, and just speak the words and have the thoughts that they send me about the situation and about the work that I'm doing. So I hope you all have a blessed week. There's going to be a link to the site on the video as always, and you can get a hold of me on my Facebook. It's Conjured Cardia. I give free consultations through my site. You can contact me there. I do take messages on Facebook, so I'm between email and Facebook, I'm on there all day, and I usually respond within the hour. I would say at my longest, maybe 72 hours if I really need to reread your situation a few times to give you my best approach or my best suggestions. So I hope you all have a blessed week, and I'm hoping to squeeze in another video tomorrow, but I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm not gonna say I will or I won't. I don't want to talk about it. So okay, have a great week. Bye.